Hey guys, welcome to MuseThemes.com. This is Ashton. Today we're looking at Superhero Slider. Now this has been a highly requested widget ever since we released the Superhero widget, and I'm super excited to share it with you today. If you're not familiar with our Superhero widget, the key factor here that makes it so special is that it allows you to fill your entire browser space with a hero image, regardless of what size the browser is. And the page itself can be any length that you want, so all the content beneath it will be placed just below accordingly. So for example, our live demo here of the Superhero Slider, now obviously we're looking at an active slideshow here, but notice I can scroll down and reveal our text below, or any content that you want, is just beneath the bottom of the browser. And if I scroll back up, I can even change the size of the browser completely. And you can see how the image and the captions adjust accordingly. And then if I scroll down once again, we see that the content is still positioned just beneath, like so. So as you can see, our Superhero Slider takes all the functionality of the original Superhero widget, but just adding a slideshow. And there's a couple cool navigation features introduced here as well. Right here on example 1, we're using default arrows and a center positioning for the captions. But if I switch over to example 2, we can see the captions move down to the corner, and we now have custom arrows applied as well. So lots of customization options available here. So let me just switch over to Muse, and I'm going to start with a blank page so that we can see how to set this thing up from scratch. It's actually quite simple. We're going to drag the widget out from the library and drop it onto our page. And before we do anything, most importantly, what we need to do is position the widget right at the very top of the page, and then set it to full width. There. And just for the sake of demonstrating the responsiveness, I'm going to place some piece of content below the widget so that we can see how it interacts in the browser with the scrolling. So let me just grab my text tool, and I'll make a new text box and place it beneath the widget. And we can just type some basic text, more content here. And let me just really quick size it up, and we'll change the font a bit. Perfect. Now let's jump into the settings panel. Inside here, right off the bat, you may notice it looks very similar to our Cinch slideshow widget. What we've done is taken the core functionality from that widget to add a slideshow to Superhero. Cinch was built from scratch by our developers and has been updated regularly for reliability, so it makes the perfect slideshow to incorporate for this widget. Starting at the top, we have transition mode and speed that you can set here. In mode, you can select from slide or fade. Then we have caption mode and position. Mode just basically lets you toggle them on or off, and position gives you 9 fixed positions to select from to include all corners, sides, and middle. Now beneath that, you can enable the nav dots and or arrows, and you can then select one of the 3 options here for the nav dots positioning, all of which are along the bottom of the page. And now we've got custom arrows. You can select this box here to enable them, and then click Add File to upload your own graphics. And the custom arrows dimensions setting applies to the width and height of the graphics together, so it kind of leaves the icon dimensions unchanged. So it's just the one size setting that you need here for that one. But I'm going to disable the custom arrows for now. Now let's jump into the slideshow styling, and I'll run through some of these briefly. Slide border radius. This is measured in pixels and allows you to add a curved radius to the corners of the slide images. Navigation color. This applies to both the default arrow and the nav dots. Caption font you can enter here. And just a quick note, we've mentioned this before on other tutorials, just make sure that whatever font family you're using is actually placed somewhere on your page so that Muse exports the font to the browser. It can even be just a small hidden punctuation mark. It just needs to be present on the page somewhere. And then of course captions, background color, and opacity. You can use these to make the caption text stand out better depending on the image coloring that's appearing behind it. Okay, now let's set up a few slides. We'll expand slide setup 1 through 5, and you can have up to 20 images, but we'll just keep it simple and do 3 for now. So you'll just need to enable the number of slides that you're using. So we need to enable 1, 2, and 3. And then we can add our image files. So I'll click Add File. And I have a few stock images pulled here, so I'll select these one by one. Just like that. And as we usually suggest, it's best to use images that are all the same orientation and size. They should be large enough to fill a full browser size, but not as large as what originals usually are, like 4,000 pixels wide and up. That's unnecessary and will slow down your site load. And very importantly, as a best practice on the web, images should be optimized for the web, and you can use free compression tools such as tinypng.com or jpegmini.com. So now we have our images loaded in, I can type separate captions for each one. So let me just go down the list here. Superhero Slider by musethemes.com. Nice. Then lastly, you have the option here to enable hyperlinks to your captions, to which you can type a URL here. You can link anywhere off-site or use an internal link inside your site by typing the pagename.html. Now let's finally give this a browser preview. And there we go. We get our images loading nicely full screen. I get my default navigation arrows on the sides. My captions are showing, although in this case I'd want to do some styling here, but we can see that they're fully functional. And most importantly, I can scroll down and reveal that the rest of my site is sitting nicely beneath. So that just about covers it, guys. Thanks again so much for watching, as always. And if you run into any hiccups or have any suggestions, don't hesitate to reach out to us in support. Thanks again.